few people asked me lately about footwork and how we approach it in our Systema training. Of course, in a lot of styles, there are very particular and very set, sometimes quite elaborate methods of footwork. People work in figure eights, they work in circles, they work in triangles or squares, and a lot of that, of course, is linked into the form or category they practice as part of their art. We tend to take a more simplistic and basic approach, if you like. Our footwork revolves around simply walking, or, if we need to move a bit quicker, running. Of course, this still means that we should know how to walk, how to run, how to move ourselves efficiently and effectively. We want to minimise impact on the joints. We need to be able to change direction smoothly, whether that's laterally or changing height going up and down as well, transitioning between those different levels. And, importantly, our movement needs to tie in to our practical work as well. So this brings me on to my second point, which is habit. I would say it's probably very common for most martial artists to train in the same room, in the same environment, in the same situation for the vast bulk of their training. I've certainly been through that myself. In my early days of training in traditional styles, we trained in the same place, the class was always the same format. It even got down to the point where people would have their own spot in the room, and that's where they go and stand and train. This is because we're creatures of habit. We like to develop these little habits and these little rituals to give structure to our lives or to our training. That's all well and good, but the difficulty comes when we try and take that work we've done in one particular environment and we have to apply it somewhere else. Frequently the conditions are not quite so perfect. So this is one reason we keep our footwork basic walking and running, because we want to take that and put that into other situations. Now, one way we test that is by training in lots of different environments. We may be training in a nice hall some of the time, but then we'll also train outdoors a lot as well. So we'll go into some fields, we'll go into woods, we'll train outside on concrete in car parks, for example. Even the venues we train at, we try and use all parts of that building as well. So if we're in a community centre like this, we might use the doorway, we might use the hallway here, we might go into the kitchen or the toilets or the foyer. There's all these different parts of the building that we can use to practice and test this mobility in a more realistic environment. So for example, tonight we've got a lot of the guys away on holidays at the moment, so we've got even more space than usual. So what I'm asking the guys to do is get some of the chairs out we've got here, and we're just going to put those around the room, and we're going to do our normal class but with those chairs around, just to add that extra level of awareness and mobility. Now also, don't think when you've got any obstacles that you have to go around them. You can go over them, you can go under them, sometimes you can even go through them. Of course, if you're training outside, you've got access to hedges, walls, fences, all sorts of stuff, as long as it's reasonably safe, of course. By doing this, I think you achieve two things. One, if we're talking practical work, it helps translate our drills and attribute developments into more of a realistic situation and setting. Two, it really does help people develop practical footwork, because they're working in a real environment. So it might be slippery underfoot, the ground is probably uneven, there might be branches to deal with, there's all sorts of obstacles in the way. People really develop a sureness of movement. That in itself is very important, because whether you're working for self-defense, whether you're working professionally, whether you're working for health and fitness, mobility is the key. Mobility is the one thing that keeps us working, that keeps us functional, and helps, hopefully, to keep us young.